Are fixed systems the best way to build a business? That's my thoughts for today. So, I have a fundamental belief now that scaling a business up to your first million a year, so up to a 7-figure company, if you find one channel that works, you can make sales with one product for one customer that you serve. I think fundamentally it's a fantastic idea because it's simple. And if you find something that works, just do more of it. And then if it worked, and it's still working at $1 million a year, what's physically stopping you from just systemizing it and doing 10 times the amount? So then you can go up to $1 million a month with that. Now I know things change past that, but this is just a thought that I've been having today of just wondering, my second business was a chocolate factory. And we did all of our sales, no, the majority of our sales, like 98% or something, direct to consumer, e-commerce, through an affiliate network. So we had a background in direct selling, and basically we found a gap in the UK market. We were like, no one's doing this, so like, let's do it. So we found a few people, we found 80 people in the first couple of days, and within a year we had about 3,000. Within 2 years we had 10,000 people selling our products, which is pretty awesome. And then we were experimenting with going to wholesale, because I thought that's where the next big growth would be, because the LTV of a customer would be drastically higher. And it was the first time that I'd spoken to investors ever. And I went to them with an idea about saying, like, this is what's going to happen, this is what we want to do, and I want help with it. I want help with wholesale for someone who has connections in the consumer packaged goods space or food and beverage industry, who could potentially put us in touch with all of the biggest department stores in the United Kingdom. And we were like, I felt that was a great idea. And just getting us into all the shops. So I ran the numbers. At the scale we'd then have the facility to be able to make, we could 5x revenue, it'd put us to an 8-figure company, and profit percentage would double, which is pretty great. And so I was speaking to an investor about it, and the only thing that he was really interested in was how we got to where we were in the first place. And then he came up with a fantastic saying, which I love. He was like, so think of investment as fuel for what's already working, because that's the lowest risk thing most likely to give you returns, rather than trying to use it to create a new engine. And I like that idea, because that makes a lot of sense. Use investment to go all in on something that's already working to just double up and beat the house. Then use your profit or continued like monthly revenue, retained revenue, as that to experiment on creating your next channel. And anyway, never took his investment, switched my focus back to what was already working and tried to expand that. And there was a reason I was moving away from it originally, but I was like, no, let's focus back on it. And then some time passed, and then I went back to the wholesale idea, hired 6 sales guys, and in our first month we did like 50k wholesale, which is like, that's pretty fantastic for your first, I think, with no investment, no experience. That's what we did. And now I'm so deeply entrenched, and I have this belief so much that if you find a system that works, and the LTV to CAC, so the lifetime value of the customer ratio with the cost to acquire them, if that's above 3-to-1, then this is fantastic. Like, it's good, it's great. That's where you can then scale it. And so just scale it, because it's working. You found something that works. Like, it ain't broke, don't fix it. So just turn it up. And now I'm just wondering, like, is that potential belief and very narrow-mindedness to focus on execution and scale, is that causing a delay in our growth because the one system we have isn't working well enough? and I'm banging my head against the same wall rather than testing out lots of different things. And I'd just love to know other entrepreneurs' thoughts on this one. What's your experience with it? Because like, whenever anyone's starting a company, I generally have two recommendations, which is either throw all the shit at the wall and see what sticks. And great, just keep throwing random stuff until you find something that sticks, and something will go big. And this is, you could think of that as like, that's kind of what investors do. Angel investors, like 90% of companies will fail, but the ones that succeed, generally in tech, will get like 100x multiple, right? So it's worth it to just like throw it at everything and just see what happens. But then the other approach, or like the smaller investor, would more likely decrease risk, and so go after something that they have experience in, or pick a specific niche that they have, that they could influence and apply their leverage to increase success. And like, if you know how to do cold calling, why would you practice anything else if you're very good at it? Because you're just putting all your effort into things that are less likely to be successful than the one you have expertise at. And so I just don't know where I fall. And I think they're both great strategies for new businesses, and depending on your skill set. And I feel like I'm limboing quite like between the two, and I just don't know what's right for me right now. And so on that note, what we are doing is keeping to the main path because we know that it works until we're full, fulfillment wise. So like we have all the fulfillment full, and at the same time we are slowly integrating a downsell offer, which will just be for anyone who's financially unqualified but they still love the sound of it, just to essentially regain some of that cost of acquisition. But first run of it, we sent out a couple of emails, and we've got I think about 90 signups so far, and that's emailing like half of our email list, which is not bad for a thing that we're just testing out, you know. And we'll see how that converts. From what I would guess a 30 to 50% show rate, as it's free to start off with. I expect we're going to get somewhere following this track record between 150 and 400 signups. Then I would say 30 to 50% will turn up, and then of those that show up, I reckon anywhere again between 30 to 60% would actually convert to the paying subscription after the first 4 weeks, which will bring in some money. It'll probably cover most of our ad spend, which would be nice for when we end up testing more things. But yeah, there's the update on where that's happening, and just what my thoughts are at. I'd love to know your opinions. And I would love to look back at this and tell myself the answer. So future me, if you're listening, would you mind just send me a message, give me a call, and just tell me which one's the best? Right, thanks guys. Peace.